Hello, I hope, first of all, that everyone's staying safe and healthy and at home as much as possible. And for today, my topic that I'd like to talk about is how effective would both informational and social influence be in pushing people to socially distance and quarantine in order to slow the progression of COVID-19. So first of all, I think it's most important to define both normative and informational social influence. And the definitions that the book provides are normative social influence is going along with what other people do in order to be liked and accepted by them. We publicly conform with the group's beliefs and behaviors, but do not always privately accept them. So I think it's important to understand with this one, and it's very applicable to college students, especially those who are just entering college, maybe freshman year, because there's such a push to fit in and to find a group of friends, and sometimes I think it's easy to get caught up in the wrong crowd or people who aren't your type of friends just because you want to fit in so badly, and maybe you don't see eye to eye with them necessarily, but it makes you feel wanted, so you push aside those beliefs and behaviors that they have and maybe don't privately accept those, but you choose to ignore that in order to be part of the group. And in relation to COVID-19, I think there are many ways that this could be effective, both negatively and positively, in getting people to socially distance and quarantine and such. First of all, with the toilet paper example, I know a few people have used it so far, so I'll try not to harp on it too much. But when people first were going to the stores and you'd hear on the news or you'd see on social media or wherever that everyone's buying toilet paper, they're selling out of toilet paper, and maybe in your head you think, oh, that's crazy. Toilet paper. I mean, you can live without it. You can't live without food and water and the necessities from the store, so why are people going crazy over toilet paper? And maybe you had these thoughts about it, and then you still decided to go and buy it and didn't privately accept their belief because you wanted toilet paper too, and everyone was doing it, so you felt like that was what needed to be done. Furthermore, there could be someone who is young and healthy and doesn't necessarily feel like they need to be quarantined because they don't have any underlying health issues, they don't believe they would experience the symptoms of COVID-19 or something of that nature, and they're choosing to quarantine and socially distance, maybe for the good of other people, or maybe just for the simple fact that other people may think badly of them, or may have a different opinion of them if they're not following these guidelines. So they're choosing to practice these social distancing, standing 6 feet apart, and staying at home as much as possible, when really they maybe don't privately believe that they need to be doing it. And then the same could be said for the flip side, where there could be someone who's young, and when the virus first started spreading and there weren't really strict guidelines yet, their friends were still going out and doing things and being social, and they didn't want to look like the boring one or someone who cared too much, and so instead of staying home and repeatedly washing their hands and keeping their distance, they still chose to go out and be social, and maybe didn't privately feel like that was the best thing to do, but wanted to just fit in and conform to that group nature. So it could be seen as a positive or a negative with social distancing and quarantining and normative social influence. And then on the other hand, informational social influence is defined in the book as relying on other people as a source of info to guide our behavior. We conform because we believe others' interpretation of an ambiguous situation is correct and can help us choose an appropriate course of action. I think this is effective especially through the media and the news and just things we watch daily. You see medical professionals and political figures, and they're speaking every day on this horrible pandemic. And so we put our trust in those people, and we turn on the news at 3:30 and see what the governor has to say every day, or what the doctor for the government recommends next and where he foresees this going. And when a government official or a medical professional says that it's best for us to stand 6 feet apart or stay at home as much as possible, we trust that and we choose to do that. And I think maybe that's why at first there were so many people who still did, me included, but we still did what we thought was okay because there weren't as strict of rules. People were still going to work, and there were restaurants that were open and different things. Stores, they weren't as careful. And we trust what people are telling us to do. And so when we put our trust in these people, we just expect that they know what is right. And so if it's open, we're going to do it. And if it's closed, we understand that that's what's best for us and that they're making the best decisions for us. And so we accept that. And if grocery stores are staying open, then people are going to the grocery store daily, and they're going to keep their distance because that's recommended. But they're still, going to get their milkshake from the drive-thru if they want it, and their burgers or whatever else. But because those things are still accepted, and in this situation they're being shown to be correct in a way because they're still open, I think that has given people like the ability to take a different course of action. And so with normative and informational social influence both, I think that there is definitely a positive that can come out of the slowing the progression of COVID-19 if we choose to follow, what the medical professionals are suggesting, and we choose to quarantine and do what's best. And I think that there could be a downside as well. So it's really important through all of this to look for the positive, and I know it can be difficult at times, but just keep doing whatever it is that you can do to stay healthy and safe and happy at the same time. Thank you.